What's going on, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. Time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. Let's get into the books I read this week. So we're going to start over in Marvel with Hellhunters issue number 2. Johnson on this one. We have Adam Graham on the art as well. And it's a really cool story, I think. So we're basically set in World War II. We're in France right now. It's in the 40s. And we have this new demonic spirit that's been taking over some of the Nazis, building its army against everybody else, right? So it's really cool to see all the different characters in this Marvel universe at that time, like doing what they do best, teaming up, taking on not only the enemy, but like this demonic presence as well. Wolverine is introduced into this issue here, as evidenced by the cover as well, and he plays such a cool role in this. Of course, he can like sense when people are a little bit off, right? He can sense this demonic presence. We have a lot of other characters coming into their own as well, displaying a great show of powers, and I just like this collaboration. I like the team up. It's just a fun book. It's a good palate cleanser from more continuity Marvel books and some other stuff out there. So Hellhunters issue number 2, not so bad. Are you guys reading it? Let me know. Let's continue Marvel with Psylocke issue number 3 from Alyssa Wong. So I read this one because I enjoy the Psylocke character, but I wasn't really enjoying the X-Men run. She's bouncing in and out of that right now on her own little missions, trying to like save these kids that are in this trafficking ring because of these mutant powers that they're manifesting, things like that. But some people from her past are starting to come back into the picture, some former lovers, some former like anti-heroes, things like that. Some new villains are showing up as well, and they have a particular interest in her. And so we're going to be unpacking that going forward. So it's been a fun ride so far to go back into her history a little bit, learn a little bit more about her as a character and all her little side missions and how she doesn't quite gel with everything that's going on in like the main X-Men book, kind of like divulging like her true feelings to Beast in this issue, which is pretty funny. But it's an interesting series so far overall. I'm not sure how much more I'm going to read from it. I might touch base with it or keep up with it a little bit longer, see where the story goes. But if you're interested in Psylocke, her backstory, some of her relationships, and just what she's up to at this moment, this might be a good run from you. Let me know if you're reading it down below. All right, that's it for Marvel. Let's go over to IDW. We have TMNT Volume 2 Re-Evolution issue number 4 right here. So I didn't know if I was going to keep reading this book, but it was a lighter week. I got my hands on a copy, so I thought I would check it out. So we have this interesting new Turtles team that I still have not quite oriented myself with, although with more issues, obviously, their voices and their personalities are going to start shining through, and I think we're starting to get to that point, although the release schedule for this is really hurting it. It is a little bit larger of an issue, so that does happen. But I would say that we're starting to understand the characters a little bit more, and their powers are starting to like mature and go in a direction that we didn't anticipate initially. This issue also brings us a lot of secrets that April has had. She's been keeping it away from Casey, her daughter, and everybody else. These little safe houses, these other relationships, these other motives and things like that. We get to see a little bit of that inside of here, and we get to see our ultimate villains kind of reacting to the latest movements our resistance has been making so far. I think the charm of this book is really kind of touching base with this new Turtles team, how they operate with Casey, how she's taking kind of the leadership role in here, and how April is still kind of managing and like pulling the string. She's kind of the puppet master of everything, and we don't quite know everything, and she hasn't shared everything with everybody just yet. And we have some classic characters coming back inside this issue as well. So still a series that's on the fence for me, but I can't help but enjoy reading this book to some level, and I want to know what happens to the characters. I want to know these characters just because it's a TMNT run, and this is the future of everything post-Ronin, right? So I want to know what's going on inside here. But let me know if you're reading this one. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let's keep the Turtle Train running, man, with Jason Aaron's run. So this is more main continuity stuff, more present day. This is issue number 6. The team is finally together in here. We had a backstory on the mayor, and we had some Casey Jones action in the previous issue. I just did not like that issue at all. But our Turtles are together inside this one. They're on the run, and of course, they're still fighting right now. They forgot kind of what it means to be a team at this point, and they're still trying to place blame wherever they can for whatever happened to them in the past that made them split up initially. But they're realizing how implanted or how ingrained the Foot has become inside society. They're now like infiltrating the police department and the firefighters and all these other places. They still haven't earned the trust of the public just yet either. So they're having to fight each other, and they're fighting society at the same time. And they're going to have to put one of those down pretty soon, or else they're not going to get very far. Again, like the other TMNT book, this book is all about the dialogue between the characters, the relationships, and how they can overcome the odds. I will say the art in this one was spectacular. Loved what they're doing from that perspective. We have Juan on this one, and he's just doing such a great job with that. So probably my favorite interior artwork from the series so far, and it was a book that featured all the Turtles kicking some ass. So I appreciated that. We're going to take some more time to build out this run, see where we're going to go. But yeah, this issue is the best one of them all so far. Let me know if you agree down below. Let's go over to Dynamite real quick. Ed Brisson put out Silverhawks issue number 1. So, fair warning, I know nothing about Silverhawks, was not raised on it, never watched the shows or whatever they might be, but I know a lot of people are excited for this. It's a new Dynamite book. They're doing some interesting stuff with older IP. I thought I'd check it out. I'm jumping into this one, and again, no context whatsoever. And what I can understand from it so far is this idea of the Silverhawk, this idea of this like persona or this team or whatever it might be, has been around for quite some time. This society has kind of moved on from that ideal at this point. Some classic, really powerful villains were locked away, case closed, right? Well, we're fast forwarding to the future a little bit, and the need for Silverhawk has returned. That team, whatever that might mean, and we're trying to recruit the newest, the latest, greatest, best of the best to fill that role at this point, because some legacy villains are starting to come back into the fray. So if you're somebody who knows a lot about Silverhawks, the battles they've had, the villains and things like that, some of the heroes, you're going to eat this crap up. If you're not, I think you're still going to enjoy it, but you're going to miss a little bit here and there of that nostalgic vibe. I will say the interior art didn't quite do it for me. The overall story was okay. Again, I think this really relies on that classic understanding of the characters and where they've been to really appreciate this issue number 1, but they give you enough for brand new readers to jump in and understand what's happening. So Silverhawks, not too bad. It's just not something that I'm going to probably keep reading, but if you're a big fan, absolutely keep reading it. I think you're going to have a great time. Let me know if you're reading it down below. All right, let's close it up with Image. We have Hornsby and Halo issue number 3. This is a great book to give younger readers, maybe like those early teenage readers, because there's not a lot of violence in here. It's pretty safe for them. It's not your typical Ghost Machine book when it comes to that kind of content, right? It's not for little tiny kids, and it's, for adults as well, but I feel like this is that YA title that's fit in the spot in Ghost Machine right now. Some cool characters. We basically have the demons had a child and the angels had a child, and they put them on Earth and they gave them to the opposite kinds of parents. So the demon child is raised by real supportive, caring parents, and the angelic child is raised by real scum of the earth kinds of parents who own a funeral home, and they're doing some really shady stuff. They're developing into their powers right now, which is kind of exciting, and they're just now learning that each other has the same kind of ability, maybe opposite of each other, and that to figure out what that means, taking on weird demonic forces and understanding who's friends and allies and who's really enemies, things like that. So it's a real coming of age story that has like a demonic angelic presence to it, which is pretty cool. Interior artwork is really bright and vibrant as well, so I enjoyed that. So I will say it's more of a YA title, but it's going to appeal to the adults as well. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet. They're doing a great job. Issue number 3 is out. Let me know if you're reading it. Ice Cream Man issue number 43. W. Maxwell Prince and a slew of other creators are on this one, giving you the one-page horror stories. They've been advertising this one for so long. Man, we have Grant Morrison, we have Patton Oswalt, Zoe Thorogood, Jeff Johns, Jeff Lemire, Kelly Sue DeConnick. We have Matt Fraction, good old Neon, Dennis Camp, and Frank as well. And it's like, there's so many stories in here. And again, they're literally one-page stories. So you don't get a lot of time to develop anything. And best case scenario, you get about 9 panels or whatnot in here. But it does make the writers and the artists and whatnot try to be really creative with how they tell their story. So we get a wide variety of compositions just to tell the story that they want to tell. A lot of it is cryptic, and I would say like poetic in a way, not poetic in like a revolutionary kind of a way or revelations kind of way, but I would say like more on the nose, like poetry writing kind of style. So a lot of them rely on some of that kind of stuff, open to a lot of interpretation. Most of these stories, I would say. Some callbacks to previous Ice Cream Man, but again, those Easter eggs are not needed. That legacy understanding is not needed going into this one. Some personal stories, some not. But again, there's a lot of cool, interesting things in here from a lot of different, very creative people in this field. So I highly recommend checking this one out. I had a really good time with this one. Let me know if you read it down below. Redcoat issue number 9. Jeff Johns and Brian Hitch on this one. The Johnny Appleseed issue right here. Really excited for this one. I think Redcoat's in a really interesting spot right now. We know that he has a grander arc that we're on right now. We're heading towards like Geiger and stuff. There's some Junkyard Joe crossover that's going to happen. But the latest arcs that he's been on right now have all been just like personal accounts with legendary people throughout America's history. And I really like that approach right there. We really get to see his impact on the characters, the lessons he's learned from them. We get to kind of explore the magical qualities of those people that that we, imbued on them throughout history, through storytelling and everything. And this book is very much that. We do learn our lesson. We team up with Johnny Appleseed. There's a really interesting arc that the characters have and everything. I just love the banter between them and just the journey that we take. So Redcoat is in this really great spot where it's episodic, but it's really fun. It's very creative. There's a high level of emotion inside of every issue, and we're progressing forward to this greater arc that we're going to uncover later. Such a great job with Redcoat, I think. Issue number 9's out. Let me know if you read it. Rook Remender and Paul Azaceta with Mateus Lopes on this one. Seasons issue number 1 from Image Comics. This is a spectacular read. Extra sized first issue here, and we don't really understand everything that's going on in here despite the extra size, but there are some creepy foundational things that they've put inside this book. We understand there's different characters, one named after each season. We don't quite understand what that exactly means just yet, but we know that they're communicating with each other, and there's a threat to one of them, and they're trying to get the word out to the other seasons that something is coming. This entire issue, practically, is about one of the seasons going through town trying to catch this letter that is addressed to her from another season. And that's all it is. She's interacting with every single person in the city, it feels like. She's chasing this magically imbued letter as it's floating through businesses and through parades and all this stuff. But there's this eerie undertone in this series as well that we're going to be exploring some more. That's going to cause some problems for our seasons. We don't exactly know what's going on. Great foundational book, I think. I love the pacing. I love the character voice and everything. We don't know a whole lot. They didn't give us a lot to go on, but I think it's one of those books that's going to mature and blossom into something really exciting, and I can't wait to be there. Glad I'm on the ground floor for it. Seasons issue number 1 is out. Make sure you read this one. All right, guys, that's all I got my hands on this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know down below what you read and what your favorite books of the week were. While you're down there, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted whenever I put out new videos. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the comments.